So we're not quite adding the Eichenwald, but we are headed into Blizzard World. And this is the map choice here of Canada. So Jake, I want to know, what about Blizzard World might play a little bit more to Canada's style?
Well, if I'm Team Canada here, the reason I would pick Blizzard World, more than playing to your own style, is trying to pull your enemies out of their comfort zone. We've seen how strong the United Kingdom is on those Reinhardt setups, but on a map like Blizzard World, it can be tough to make those work on anything but last point. First and second are so wide open, there's so much high ground surrounding and flanking potential that it's really difficult to just catch up to the enemy with your Reinhardt. So potentially forcing the United Kingdom to play a dive style that they aren't quite as comfortable on, I like that play from Canada. Bring them into your wheelhouse, don't go to theirs.
So you do make sense here, because take a look at the United Kingdom. They are going very heavy dive, but you think back to Volskaya. Kid was able to make this Hammond work very well. Okay, they're swapping. They didn't like what they see. Kid goes, you know what, I don't want to roll around. I just want to walk around with this big chain.
Interesting, they're going to go back to this Roadhog Sombra setup. Gives them a lot of possibilities to get picks more than anything. Kib, though, still, they're thinking it over. They see the comp fully now, see the enemy lineup, and going to make another adjustment. I love this high-level play right here, just deciding what they think is most effective. This, I think, is a perfect choice. The only difference between their compositions are their Moira and Rhyme. It's going to give them a way better brawling potential on point, and it's going to be really rough for XQC to actually challenge that death ball. Even getting close is really risky against that Brigade stun.
And what means also is that XQC is very likely to get focused when he moves in, and he sees the danger. He's taking his time. Crusoe down early. That means XQC going to be a little bit more aggressive. Reinhardt just going to the water, not quite, but man, was it close. Canada now feeling pretty good about where they're at. The United Kingdom beating down Lucio early. Really wants their mobility. Is Penny on the opposite side, just going off.
And he's picking up a ton of frags on Lucio, farming up that beat. So important here, such a crucial tool in this tankier setup. Canada making that work. I'm surprised. I think part of the problem is that United Kingdom, they have to go so far to climb that close, tight staircase just to get to these, Zenyatta's, Lucios, and Brigidas on the high ground. And you're just asking to be moved off the map at that point. So Canada playing this high ground really well, understands it. They don't want to challenge the Rhine on the low ground, but up on their castle, they're a lot more powerful.
Now the scary part here for the United Kingdom heading on in. Crusoe's going to have that super quick transcendence. Canada, they're being highly aggro here. They're going on in. They want a good old brawl, but XQC might bit off more than they can chew. Almost falls. Doesn't have primal range up. Immediately has to back up. Infusions again. Earth Shatter knocks down 3, but Crimso, because of the early transcendence, means Canada has 5. Surefour charged up, ready to go. Grab, ready. Doesn't need to use it.
It's a great reaction trance by Crimso. Everybody else dropped onto the floor, but of course, Zenyatta makes himself immune, keeps all his teammates alive. That's textbook play by Crimso. Huge shatter by Fusions, but it just doesn't matter. Completely countered.
And look at Surefour. He's going to be sneaky here with this next draft.
I like this positioning. United Kingdom has shown that they want to wrap and climb onto the high ground. So if they do the same thing again, they will pass right in front of the waiting Surefour.
Smex, how big of a brain would it be if he was able to devour Surefour's graph here? Also, one of the main victory conditions for United Kingdom as they move forward. It's a Surefour coming off the side. No chance of eating that one. Picks up 3. The follow through it's there. Self-destructed the back for good measure. Probably wasn't even needed, but hey, they didn't know that at the time. Surefour's flank, successful.
Canada doing such a great job of being conservative with ultimates. They only have to expend 2 of them. There's Zarya and D.Va ults to clean up that team fight. United Kingdom, they haven't really even been able to get their ults off. It feels like Canada always taking the initiation, beating this composition by controlling the pace of the fight. If Fusion is able to actually get on point and get Mikey A to high energy, things could get dicey in Canada, but so far Canada has just prevented that win condition flawlessly.
Mikey A moving in, grab ready, staring down Node, almost daring him to go for the E, holding on to it, barrier used by both teams. Everyone feeling the music here, and Grab coming out, but no one caught. Oh, Crimso kind of floats on into it, but it doesn't really matter. Mid-transcendence, gets blown away by self-destruct, but hey, still alive. Prayer, pretty powerful. Boomboxo gonna do some praying himself. The United Kingdom still at full, still with a little bit of rally left. Surefour gonna fall early, and they are turning this fight to their favor.
We see Mikey A high energy with that full armor stack, courtesy of Kim. This is where they really start to hit their power peak, and you can see no one's able to contest Boombox. He's free firing in the backline, putting disco wherever he wants it. This will be a capture for the United Kingdom, but you gotta give props to Canada. That's an insanely well-played defense to make it last that long. I mean, United Kingdom without really much time to spare at all here.
Well, the general rule for hybrid maps is that if you can burn 2 minutes off the clock for your first defense, you're feeling pretty good. If you burn nearly 4 minutes off, you're feeling great.
Interesting too, Surefour elects to stay on the Zarya. He is at 90% Graviton, so I don't hate the decision. That Graviton can be such a powerful ultimate, but it's not clear to me how they're actually going to be able to clean up the grab. No, it doesn't have a self-destruct up yet, and it's not going to be so easy to get that against the Reinhardt.
United Kingdom looking to get a little bit of momentum. To your point here, Mikey, Graviton up early, XQC nowhere to go, immediately focused, Agility's following right after, and that is a quick team fight win for the United Kingdom. In Canada, they will have some options as we go to the next fight, especially with ShaDowBurn.
Yeah, the struggle here, though, is Note, I think, really needs to get this self-destruct. I don't see any other way that they'll actually be able to kill the grab. I mean, even without support ultis, Boombox at 90, he's going to have his Transcendence by the time the grab actually comes out. Kib has a rally. I mean, they have a ton of tools to survive, so Canada doesn't have that clear DPS combo. ShaDowBurn looking like he wants to drop the grab here. Specs looks like he's ready for it, but already team mech, so he doesn't have to worry about that deep of self-destruct matrix.
Crimson went down early, it's 5-on-5. ShaDowBurn definitely in a situation where he doesn't have the risk, where does the fight has to go back around. Drops the grab, or gets a few in and self-destruct to the side, and it's enough. Picks up two. The combo that you were calling there, Jake, that they're waiting for, but United Kingdom, they have enough here that they're going to invest more. They find ShaDowBurn. They think it's winnable, and you know what? It actually might be.
100 energy Zarya and a Zenyatta with a full armor stack. Or sorry, 100 energy Zarya and a Zenyatta with a full armor stack. Very, very dangerous combo. Very difficult to fight. Agility, though, gets aggressive, taking down his counterpart. That's a crucial opening. The sound barrier is out, though, from the United Kingdom. They want to sweep back in as the Transcendence of Crimson ends.
Who needs a full team? Keep punching as hard as you can. Fusion drops the hammer. Met by the barrier. Mikey drops another grab. And again, we're going to get one from it, but not as much as it likes. Specs loses back to Canada. Starting to bring it back the other way. XQC diving on in. And Crimson unleashed in the back.
Both Zenyatta's just free firing here, but Crimson does get the better of it. I think that is just a case of Canada having more ultimates in the bank. They use their Transcendence and their sound barrier. In that fight, Boombox wasn't actually ready with his own Transcendence. It wasn't quite up yet, so the final trump card ends up being Canada's. And because they win that team fight, get the opportunity to clean up, they've built up a few more ultimates of their own. This is looking really rough for the United Kingdom.
United Kingdom, final opportunity, final 15 seconds, must-win fight coming up here. And you see Canada being super aggressive, but they force the Transcendence out early, and it's not enough to save Kib. Kib was not with Boombox there. So already, United Kingdom down two, Boombox falling right after. Cruz, one of the last ones alive, just hugging the payload here, hoping for dear life. That is not happening. Canada putting the foot on the throat, and this is going to be a hole right here at point B.
Team Canada making it work. It's not a combo we've seen much of at all in this tournament, but it looks really, really strong here with ShaDowBurn Zarya on Blizzard World. And I love that final aggressive initiation from Team Canada on that last fight. They know the United Kingdom has to flood back in. They have to run to point, so they just immediately attack that backline. That makes Boombox's trance much less effective than it would have been otherwise. We see Kib getting picked off on the Brigida, which loses that crucial staying power on the card. Brigida, one of the strongest characters in an overtime scenario, just forced to fight on the objective. She's not too bothered by that, but if she goes down away from her Transcendence, there's not much she can do.
Well, not only that too, but you think about why they weren't pouring in. This Transcendence is that they initiated right when they were on high ground, when some people weren't all with them. And you scare Boombox enough, a guy that is not easy to scare, by the way, into using his Transcendence early. So they don't get the value out of Transcendence that you would normally get. You don't get the idea of keeping your entire team up because people are split. And why are they split? Because you found a good moment to go on in.
Timing so critical in these compositions, of course. Boombox, I think, more than just being scared to pop the Transcendence, I mean, he's being focused down. If he dies, of course, he's not going to come back in that team fight. So he, of course, can't risk that, can't risk falling. He's forced. You know, it's really Canada taking control of the situation, putting the United Kingdom in that double bind scenario. Use your trance, we'll just run away. If you don't use it, you're going to die. So there's no good choices there for Boombox, and that's just off the back of intelligent setups by Team Canada. Looks like Team Canada, though, potentially wants to run this strat again on Blizzard World. Quite surprising here, actually.
Well, the key here for Canada is that they don't even need a fantastic offense, but they need something that is simply going to get them reliable results, because they don't have to bring this very far here, Jake, and time is definitely on their side.
Yeah, now that they have this clear win condition on second point, it's really up to them to pick the composition that's going to give them the highest percent chance to actually make it there. But United Kingdom doing a great job. Specs fading in the lead, as you see, overextended, hit by fusions, and completely shut down. What a big brain play for the United Kingdom.
They knew where XQC wanted to go. They did their homework, and man, did they slam it home. That was an absolute trap coming in. XQC activated that card.
I mean, it makes total sense. You see the Diva on the flank. Normally, she's just there alone scouting for her team. You know, that forward scout. You just think there's nothing behind her. So you go chase, try to pick up some ult, and then Fusions, his whole team is right there, and they stun you down. So that's just great play for the United Kingdom. Great bash on ShaDowBurn. Forces it back, but this is a scrappy fight. I'm expecting frags to go both ways, but Fusions somehow staying alive.
And while ShaDowBurn stunned, they use the opportunity to get Crimson before Shield can come out. Really nice play coming up from the United Kingdom. Aggressive, taking the match by their own
so much pressure was going on him. He had the Discord at one point, dropping under 100 HP multiple times. But Canada, fast and furious, going right back in. No more bubble, nothing stops.
Oh, he just turns the corner, drops a hammer, picks up another 3. They didn't expect it. It was a stealthy pillar.
I mean, this is why you don't traditionally see this composition played into the classic 3-3 goats. I mean, Winston does do some good cleaving damage, but he's just not so good at actually finishing off a character like Reinhardt. I mean, that hammer is just a devastating amount of damage if you can't burst the Rein.
And now, Fusion's not going to have an Earth Shatter here, but is going to have a grab in the next fight. And oh, they're going straight in. Sure, they want isolate here. They're rounding. Kim goes, I said flood the water.
Manny was in the water.
The water. You are the water. Manny turns the tables. And suddenly Canada has a free road to point A.
United Kingdom getting way overconfident there, way too deep into the spawn and absolutely crushed by Benny. Perfect move, understands that overcommitment is coming through, and this is so rad for the United Kingdom. I mean, Canada winning first point, they still have almost all of their critical ultimates available. Let's see the point from Benny's perspective.
Oh man, when you go from flood plus to just simply dumped in the water, yikes.
Oh, and here we see another grab coming up from the United Kingdom. They're going to pick up 2 with it, but the card's already rolling. This is going to be of limited effectiveness, especially as Sherfor finds 2 frags of his own. Now the United Kingdom, far from their spawners, they're going to have to retreat and regroup. Canada, they're playing right next to their spawn. They're not even worried about the fact that their teammates are dead.
And the scary thing here for the United Kingdom is that Canada can get progress without winning any fights here. It very likely could be a 1-fight margin in about another minute and a half, which is still going to leave them with 2 minutes to get that fight. United Kingdom must be perfect. They dive on over. Fusion's healed up just in the nick of time. He got low. They wanted it real bad there, but now he's healed back up. He has the shatter, drops it again. This just keeps happening. Gets the slam onto Banny at the very end. Fight though, not over yet. Canada finding a way to the back line. He missed Fusion, swinging. Fusion himself goes down, and Canada is doing it.
They just can't finish off Sherfor in these fights. No one's able to focus him down, and he's constantly on 100 energy. He's got a Graviton to work with. XQC's got the Primal. Node's got the Self-Destruct. Tank ultimates are the most important ultimates in the game to close out a fight, and Canada has all 3.
Sherfor in the flanking Zarya position. This, of course, so deadly. And oh, they get Fusions early. They drop the grab. 2 pickoffs for Canada. Easy mode in progress here to the final fight because of great ultimate usage. Specs is by a little bit of time, but it's just not going to be enough. The disruption is there, and Canada saying, we're not going to go down so easy here. We're going to go back on Blizzard World, and we're going to even up the series 1-1.
Canada proving the validity of their composition here on Blizzard World. Maybe it was a bit of an overextension there on first that led United Kingdom to lose that point, but that just goes to show the level of punishing that these teams are willing to do. I mean, if you go a little bit too far out of the spawn, I mean, you're going to be punished. You can't be fighting in those unfortunate locations, right? That's not the place you want to be challenging Banny on the Lucio. Right next to the water? I don't think so.
Yeah, you certainly have to respect the movement. That simply was not the case. But guys,
not only have South Korea earned themselves a stay of execution, but they've given themselves another opportunity to equalize this series. Assault is a draw. It means that we move on to the next map without awarding a point to either team.
Yeah, so it'll be a control map up next. South Korea, map number 1 control. If they were to win this, we would go to another control to decide it. So they make no substitutions. They go with the same roster that they started at the beginning of the series at, Carpe in. They end up winning that map number 1. They draw Horizon with Carpe in the lineup. It's a huge map. I mean, you win this here if you're South Korea, you feel like you have the advantage in the series. I mean, all the pressure. I mean, a lot of people in the venue cheering on Team USA. Now they go with their backs against the wall, right? You're kind of, you already won 3. You know, the 4th is nice, but I mean, it's really the pressure on Team USA at that point.
I'm sure you've been here yourself, Matt, on the precipice of winning a very big series and just trying to find that last little bit of effort to close it out. And worrying that maybe, do you have it? Do you have it in you?
Yeah, I mean, it's an odd scenario. Like, you're always going to hear people talk about, like, oh, like getting the last map or getting this one's like the hardest one. And it's hard because of the pressure you put on yourself, right? Like, you know how close you are, you know how bad you want it. And that's when you the pressure starts to sit in. It's with yourself. It's not really in the scene of, the venue and everybody cheering. I think, the players at this point, they're used to it's just the internal pressure of just wanting to get there, wanting to achieve it, and then getting it done.
3 years, 3 World Cups. The USA have exited in heartbreaking circumstances. They have themselves now a chance to advance, potentially for a gold medal, and getting rid of an age-old rival. Well, that would be something special.
Genji. Symmetric Genji. Ryan Sim. What on earth for the win here? So we actually did a Canada game, and we saw XQC get pretty decent value out of the Reinhardt on this exact point. Because you can just use Reinhardt just like a battle mode, right? They're not running a May South Korea to split him off. So get super, swinging the hammer, and there he goes.
The king has returned to Reinhardt. Great opener. Sinatra here just trying to stay scarce for the time being. Shimano. We have been treated to quite the display in this series, and it just keeps getting better. And that hammer, that looks hard.
Now you build up, you use Reinhardt like, it's just like, almost like how we used to talk about Reaper, right? Where you just barrel the Reaper into the backline and just kind of, you use him as like a bull, Ryan there, you use him the same way here. I mean, you're getting aggressive, the shield is kind of secondary here in this type of setup.
Lessons early, and Shadow, that's a connection. Carpe out of the fight before it begins. Super trying to charge in to follow up, but he's confident in his healers and he's going to keep swinging. Look at that reposition with the teleporter. South Korea struggling. Keep eyes on them, but getting rid of Sinatra is going to release some of that pressure. Watch out though, Corey's heating up. Oh, the microwave! It's disgusting!
She reloads, gets stronger when the other team has the shields out. Corey farms those shields up. They stay alive long enough to be able to get the value off of it. Take a look at this. Another shatter, forbidding flux. A blade here for Sinatra.
Everything you could ask for. Dragon Blade in, force the sound barrier. I'm pretty sure Sinatra's going to be happy with that. Carpe's done dead him though. Big shatter from Super. Architect and Carpe both go down. And South Korea essentially have their wings clipped.
Corey's still up here on the sim. And you see just shooting
down, baby.
Shooting that barrier, just keeping that little bit of extra charge. Now he's going to throw the turrets back on the point. Sinatra now goes over to Junkrat here. This is turned into
This is obscene. This is a travesty. They're making a mockery of South Korea right now. Overtime comes around. Remote mine out. Sinatra. Corey down. Only came able to find ability in the fight. Here another remote mine used. Just as he came down. Architect had to skip back out. Here's the gravitic flux. Oh, great move for Ray, but it's not been enough to keep them alive. South Korea. They finally come up with an answer here. And credit to them, because who knows how they're going to solve that weird compositional problem.
Still, for Team USA, they use South Korea uses all their ultimates there. Now you make the switch over to Arisa, Doomfist, the Reaper. You'll have your own coalescence coming in here. Give yourself a chance. When you look at South Korea, they have no ultimates here. They're not really close.
Coalescence of Raucus. Ability goes straight away. Into knockdown. Architect comes off second best. The USA punch second. And that pays off. Sinatra just trying to do it out here, but South Korea are in deep trouble. And the USA can transition to the point and claim this round. It's some of the weirdest compositions I think I've ever seen, especially in this era of Overwatch. The USA take the point back. They make a statement. They dare South Korea to challenge them.
One round of control away for Team USA to knock out South Korea and get to the gold medal match. I think South Korea just did not know how to deal with the Symmetra, the Genji, the Reinhardt. They're such an odd
I
composition.
noticed you didn't offer up any solutions during the round either.
It's weird. I mean, that's the best way you can. These players, they're so used to seeing the same things all the time. When you get served up something that odd, you just kind of
Freeze up.
throwing stuff at the wall to try and break it. So, this point though, I think you're going to see played way more standard. So, Corey and Carpe, they'll teleport their teams forward. They will go to Reaper.
South Korea probably have no idea what to expect here. They are going to see a more friendly composition. If that's even possible. USA. Space is taking a ton of damage early, and so is ShaDowBurn. South Korea have to step back, but look, Sinatra sees his opening opportunity. Just when South Korea were trying to get some space, he closes the gap and closes the deal.
This will be an easy fight win for Team USA, built off of Sinatra's doom. Have control of the point now. Coalescence already available for both warriors in this next fight to kick things off. You'll probably see that to get it started, but Sinatra is a good seismic slam away from a meteor strike, way ahead in terms of that build-up to Architect.
ShaDowBurn down already. Architect's able to get the punch though. Mana's in trouble. He surrounds it. South Korea. See a miscalculation in positioning. They left Mano on an island.
The positioning of South Korea has not been good, and that was one thing that Josh was talking about. We were watching the Denmark game. He was like, I do not think this team, if they are not on the same page, you see so many players just split, taking their own battles all over the place. It's coming back to bite them now.
43% and counting. The United States have built up quite a small percentage there. Sinatra goes on in first. Oh my. A lot of damage on ShaDowBurn. He's able to stay most of it on. Corey just wants to push in. You can see that aggression. The USA, they want it so badly, man. They don't give South Korea a chance to even set up for the fight.
And this is the feeling we were talking about going into the match. The players on USA, they know the scenario. They know how hard over the last few years they've worked to get to this point. And they are one fight potentially away from doing it.
Disappointment after disappointment. Harsh fans, critical friends, on the big. Space drops it down. Corey is very low into ShaDowBurn for South Korea. Architect comes in. 3 for him. Make it 4. Oh my! Architect lights up the stage with 5 kills.
Well, isn't that a response?
It had to be there, man.
I mean, you know, they're wavering on the ropes, and Architect sends a haymaker. We can take a look at this again as he comes down with a meteor strike. The halt is good, and then he just starts taking names after that.
Has this taken the wind out of the USA sails? They're one fight away. Who's pulled off to work with gear? And yeah, South Korea know they've got to go for this right now. Sound barrier keeps USA alive. Mob gets Mano. That's the first. But also with the coalescence. One is expired but allowed Carpe to find Sinatra. ShaDowBurn tries to get the gravitic flux, but Architect is still in the mix. Super, he's fortified, so that accretion's not going to bother him too much. Bob's almost knocked senseless. He's able to escape just for a moment, and Architect is searching for the Lucio. The United States trying to get the point back.
The Arisa's a problem here. Super being alive is such a problem here for South Korea.
They force South Korea off the point. They're about to capture it. Bob going in, just trying to play safe and keep their healing coming for the time being. But they've lost Sinatra. They've lost Super. They fall like flies. And South Korea regain control.
A battle back is, you know, the Super is such a nuisance here for South Korea. The point that you pretty much have to kite it until their tanks get back, because you cannot dive onto that Arisa, because you know the fortify is coming in. Both supports are alive for USA at the time, so the players for South Korea did a tremendous job playing around that difficult scenario.
Veteran heads of the USA now need to help calm these units. They're close, but they're not there yet. Corey tries to go in. That's 2. That's 3. That'll do it. 4 for Corey. And the USA sound out the curtain call. And South Korea now have no chance for the first time in Overwatch history. They will be going home without the goal. At the Overwatch World Cup, an old foe, now defeated. They eye off a new one in our gold medal match.
You see a lot of the shot guys, right? I mean, you know, Sinatra, Super, Team USA. USA, and you have Architect and Choi over there for South Korea. Probably a little bittersweet for those guys to send their teammates home, but I think they know how much this means to the region.
A nation of expectant fans who always turn up. Behind the desk, and a big hello again to our friends watching via 7 Mates. A pleasure to have you here to witness potentially historic moments here for Australia, at least in the esports scene. My name is Mitch Leslie. I'm joined here by Andrew. ZP Rush. It's 2-0. It's safe to say that Australia now has some work to be done in terms of the overall map score. It's 8-2 for Australia, and now 8-2 for Sweden. Only one on top of this group.
Absolutely, but the one great thing we know about Overwatch is that teams can make big comebacks here in this game. It is a game punctuated by stories where even if you lose the first two maps, you can easily come back and even the score. And there's nothing that this crowd would like more than for an Australian comeback here.
And it's possible. Volskaya Industries is going to be our next map, and it's a different game type. Now we've moved on to Assault. If you cast your minds back, of course, to the first map in Hollywood, where teams had to capture the first point to get moving in general, well, now the map is made up of 2 points. Attackers need to move to point A and capture it by having control of it for a set period of time. Then they move on to capture point B. Defenders need to waylay them as much as possible and ideally prevent them from taking any points at all. And of course, the team with the most checkpoints after a set period of time will be victorious.
And typically here, when you look at this game type, what you often see is that teams will regularly get through point A, but getting through point B is much more difficult. The attackers do not have quite the edge that they do in getting in on that first point. But defenses can make a really good showing by dragging out time as much as possible at point A, and every now and then you can hold a team right there.
So the camera now is panning out over point A. Sweden are the defenders to start off in this map, but they need to prevent the Aussies from having control of this area of the map. Note that there is a bit of high ground around the edges here. The Australian team will likely try and utilize this by using the tunnels and the access points to get high ground and then leap down. Sweden want to prevent them from getting into those nice positions.
The goal here for the attacking team, which is Australia, is to find a way in that Sweden might not be expecting. Get an early pickoff, and then use that to get more. Use that early advantage to make it a major advantage as you not only take point A, but try and get to the second point. And now we see them going up the right side.
Now, again, they're trying to outmaneuver Sweden here. They're sticking together as 6 players. You can see them behind them. Vic is trying to pursue, trying to pick off the stragglers. But Australia have had a good job of staying together as a unit now. They're in position. Now they can foray forward from here.
And when you stay together as a unit, what you can do here is you can utilize your tanks to protect your entire team. You might not be as sneaky, but you are very durable. And they're playing this very ground and pound style right now, where they're using the room for cover and trying to out-poke and out-hustle the Sweden team.
Aitar, one of the shining lights for Australia so far in his last couple maps, has a big yoke on his shoulders. One of the main damage dealers for Australia. He needs to use this long range to his advantage, but Trill goes in. But Winston jumps ahead of Australia. He's already found 2 kills.
And that is the power of the setup, where they were able to beacon Sweden from afar, dive right in, and secure that advantage. But Sweden, we see Vic, he's being the ruiner of dreams once more, moving into the Australian backline. But this time, it's not going to be enough. The terror has been vanquished.
Vic, arguably one of the most talented players in the world at Overwatch. Sweden are lucky to have him there, but even his contribution wasn't sufficient. Australia, on their first attack this time, control point A.
They're going to be taking this point, and now the question is, they get a little bit of momentum from grabbing point A. You see that Aitar has ultimate ability charged up here. Will they be able to utilize this to keep Sweden off balance? Sometimes we see this happen on this map type, and they're pushing Sweden back.
Aitar's tactical visor results will be very important because it doesn't actually require him to aim. He just needs to cursor roughly over the enemies, and his gun will automatically target them. It's a huge bonus. It's a bit of an aimbot if you know the lingo. But now Aitar wants to set up behind his team. ShaDowBurn, Australia going in.
Australia, they're doubling down. They seize this as their moment. They get onto the point. They're already getting progress. They have a 2-man advantage, and Aitar is going home. Aitar with the triple kill, and Australia now making this point their own.
Stylish finish from Aitar there. The fadeaway helix rocket to catch Vic, who would have been the biggest thorn in Australia's side so far. It's been such a good fight for Australia. They've lost no one yet. They're up on the point. Sweden scrambling to try and respond, scrambling to try and get some control back, but they're so far behind the 8 ball here. Australia, an ironclad grip on the lead.
Sweden right now is shell shocked. They're looking for any way back in, but Australia is smothering right now. A full control of the point. Trill mopping them up right as they come back in, treating them to that electricity. And Australia right now, they just need a little bit more minutes, and this will be a blazingly fast time.
Try as they might, Sweden cannot get any presence on the point. Australia forced to step up briefly, but surely will come back into the fight. Pulse bomb dropped on Manhattan, takes him very low. Sweden desperate to try and get back into this fight, but Trill leaps over the top, and Winston picked up Gumbo though.
there for Australia, no doubt. They are still happy with that progress. They would have liked to have gotten the full capture, but they didn't. But Tvik is down. The terror is gone. Will they be able to take advantage of this opportunity?
1-for-1 trade early, though. Gumper's already dropped, and the rest of Sweden now standing up in the absence of Tvik. Swoosh found Atar, and that was the key component of Australia to get damage done. The Aussies, again, need to back away and regroup.
Sometimes it's easy to forget with how good Tvik has been playing that he is surrounded by a bunch of great players here on Team Sweden. And yes, even though they were able to pick him off early, you saw Swoosh using the distraction of Tvik to get to the back line and do damage himself. However, Chips' high end is down. He posed a little bit too far deep, and Australia now with a great 6v5 opportunity.
They have given them an opening, but Australia needs to take advantage of it here. Intro tries to deliver a pulse bomb towards the enemy. Winston, it doesn't quite connect. Reinforce is still alive. Atar decides to go for the tactical finding here. He finds Zemerside before Madison on the Swedish side can prevent the damage from connecting. It's a turn for Australia. It's a 4-0 trade so far in this fight. They need to back away and avoid the explosion, but now they're coming back on towards the point.
This is so good for Australia right now. Everyone's still alive. Atar is being the champion. His country deserves. They only need a little bit more.
ShaDowBurn for Sweden coming in here with Kiki deals with Zemerside very quickly. A self-destruct on the point from Australia this time to force Sweden off it. Now Swish tries to go for the Dragon Blade here. It's a last-ditch effort, but it's not going to be enough. Still being contested now. Couple moments that Australia will have it, but this fight is being dragged out.
The Dragon Blade matched by the Transcendence. It heals everyone, stops him from getting what he wants, and Australia has yet to lose a man here on this point. Sweden, all they're doing right now is delaying, but how long can they keep this up as Australia cuts right through them?
Just one player now on the point. It's going to be the main. Zemerside, Swish, should I say, goes into the ice block here. He's just trying to have a bit of fun with Australia right now. Still, the point is contested. The stall's been so very good from Sweden to make sure that they always maintain a presence on this point, prevent it from being captured. The fight is still going.
This has been insane. They've been able to keep a man on the point this entire time. That's the only reason why Australia's not been able to take it. And Tvik strikes into the back. He's taken down the support. This is dangerous for Australia. Yes, Australia able to get the final control. Round one is over. 2 points to the Australian team.
There's a lot going on in that fight. It's safe to say Australia started off very, very well, managing to trade 4 for 0. So they get 4 kills. They don't give up any of their own. The trick is the spawn point for the Swedish team. Obviously, after they die, they come back at a certain point on the map. It's very close to that last stage. There's definitely a defender's advantage. Australia did very well to maintain momentum and to deal with those reinforcements of Sweden that were struggling to get to the point. Sweden, though, changed tack. They actually picked a few characters that are very good at staying alive and being a nuisance here. So Australia took them an extra minute or so to get rid of it. And that only means that Australia have a less amount of time in the bank when we go back to replay this map again to find a winner. They got 2 minutes and 34 seconds in the time bank.
And remember, the reason why they would do that is that as long as you have a member of your team that can be in that control zone, the other team cannot make progress. So even if you're involved in a losing fight, you want your reinforcements as they come out to try and buy as much time as possible. So what we found from Sweden there is that they recognized that that fight was not going in their favor, but they still tried to seize opportunity there and to keep themselves in a winning position for later on in the map.
So realistically, Australia could have had a lot more time in the bank there. It's actually a small number you see right up next to the hero roster there, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. So we'll have to replay the map again if Sweden managed to finish it. But if Sweden don't get both points within the allotted time, they'll lose the match because they need to match the 2 checkpoints Australia have.
And historically, for this map, Australia has set a pretty good time here. It is not guaranteed that you can even complete the map and get 2 points. So if you're a fan of Australia right now, you have to like the positioning that they're in.
It's a good start for Australia, but the job's not done yet. The crowd, of course, getting behind the hometown heroes. But a lot of fans here of Sweden, definitely very, very well liked in this region. Of course, reinforces the man who keeps getting out of his seat. He's playing that Winston role here. He loves a bit of banter with the crowd. But it's going to be Sweden and blue on the attacking side now. They need to get this done fairly speedily.
They do, and now Sweden, they know that they have a time to beat, and they're going for an opposite approach here. While Australia went to the right, Sweden going to the left, and they're going to be using this high ground perch to survey the Australian defense and probe for weakness.
So they take the opposite approach as Australia. They actually set up on this side of the point as opposed to the opposite one that Australia went for in their first attack. That's not good though. Tvik again, always a menace to the Australian backline. Has found Inchu up. He was dealt with though. It was a 1-for-1 trade early in the fight.
And that's a trade you have to feel good about for Australia. Even though you're the defenders, Tvik has been such a threat that having him out, good for Australia right now. Now we'll see if they'll be able to deal with Sweden as Sweden pushing the issue, putting players onto the point, which means Australia has to put themselves on the turn to contest.
Sweden were trying to find a quick and easy pick-off there of one of the Australian players, but the tanks, the big, heavy, high-held targets of the Australian side did a good job defending it for Sweden to take a step back and try again.
And right now it's back and they crush Sweden as they try to move in.
Almost emphasized there on the loose here. What he wanted to do was use his ultimate ability, but that requires him to be able to hit the ground after he presses the key. He wasn't allowed to do that. Trill kept him up in the air, batting him away with those big Winston fists, and Sweden didn't have a chance to use many of those abilities.
And now you take a look, Sweden down to their final minute 50. If they get onto this point, they'll get extra time, but they have to do that first. Australia once more an opportunity to hold, but a storm is coming. Sweden with plenty of resources here for this fight, and they get to do it in a 6v5.
Not a great start for Australia as well. Gunbeck got picked off and Kiki's back is very low. ShaDowBurn used now more desperately than anything by Australia to try and weather this onslaught. So far though, not good at all. Sweden just roll over the top. Finally, they find the entrance point, they find the approach that works for them here, and Australia are surely going to lose the points.
Australia might be losing the point, but as we talked about earlier in the broadcast, if you can delay for a long time on this point, many teams will still see it as a win. They have given Sweden less time to work with on their attack to point B, and also, Australia right now, plenty of time to set up their defense and turn.
Sweden technically are 2.5 minutes ahead of Australia here. They now have 5 minutes and 3 seconds in the time bank. However long it takes them to finish the map, what's left over will be their time bank going into the next playthrough of this particular map here. So Sweden are looking good, but if their time drops below 2 minutes and 34, you can consider Australia to be ahead.
Australia right now able to reset up. They don't have an EMP in their soundbite here just yet, but they will in a moment. Sweden has to be careful on this attack. Want your attack here to be decisive, but Australia not giving them the opportunity, but Trill going down early. Sweden might have an opening.
Australia have lost their cornerstone tank player, the big defender for the squishy backline. Not a great start at all. Now they're going to use some of those ultimate abilities. The EMP goes over the fight, and Atar now causing problems for Sweden. And he drew up also finds to pick his opposite number, and that's going to provoke a full-scale retreat for Sweden. They lack the players to take this point at this time.
And what that EMP from Gumba did is that it washed over most of Sweden there, stopped them from using defensive abilities, and opened them up for Atar to use the long range damage of the Soldier 76 to rip right through them. That ended the push and fought Australia. Crucial time.
4 minutes and 4 seconds remain for Sweden. Remember, if they don't take this point, they actually lose the map outright. It's expected and it's required for them to at least finish so we can go to an overtime playthrough. Swoosh again, throwing these shurikens out from long range. It's just a bit of poke right now, just getting a feel for the situation. But they found a squishy target in the back line. Atar is felled instantly.
Atar's been the hero for Australia. That's a great pick up here for Sweden. And now the nano boost might be going on to the Genji, and it is. That makes him more powerful as he swings his blade, trying to dice through this Australian defense.
Desperately, Australia tried to disengage Swoosh there. Once he's lit up like a Christmas tree, you don't want to be anywhere near him. They back off the point, and now they return. The fight goes roughly even right now. It's about a 4v4 over the point. Sweden doing well with Kiki, and he dropped it back in Australia. I'm going to put the foot down. Get up, my lord, they say.
The reinforcements come in, and they just shove Sweden off of Australian turf. And now, you look at the time remaining. Sweden, only 3 minutes left for their attack. And what this means is that even if they succeed, Australia will almost certainly have a better time if we have to go to extra rounds here for this map.
Exactly right, ZP. It's all about how much time you have left after finishing the map. It's generally expected at this level that teams are able to take both points, but perhaps Australia are going to be able to hold them off completely and win the map here and now. Still, a couple minutes remain. So ultimates here for Australia. The EMP for Gunberry is available to get used. Swoosh can't use any of his abilities right now. He needs to back away and be very careful.
Sweden right now is trying to disengage, but it's not in time for Manatee. He has thrown out this back that weakens him severely. Australia, heavy on the assault right now. They sense blood in the water, but Sweden strikes back. They use the sound barrier. They counter-engage and have the Australians been caught off guard.
So reinforce a little bit like the Incredible Hulk there. It becomes that big Winston just knocking people around. He kind of loses his cool as far as the story goes. But Atar with the Dragon Blade here, what can he do? He's trying to avoid this Winston, but reinforce goes for the punch. He doesn't connect it, but Atar is felled off screen. Now Australia are into stall. They need to trickle on towards this point one by one to keep it alive.
Australia right now looking for a way to stall out Sweden and find an opportunity back in. They have gotten a few pickoffs, but Sweden is suffocating right now, killing Australian reinforcements as they come back in. They are almost there to pushing us into extra rounds. A Dragon Blade from Swoosh comes out. That can seal the deal here for Sweden.
Self-destruct doesn't quite connect, and Swoosh is picking up those players in the back line for Australia. You can see Trill jumps in. He's taken very low at the start of the fight. A sticky bomb was applied to him. He lost most of his health in the first second of that. Kiki now forced to eject out of his mech. He'll be cut down over the top. You can see Swoosh getting into the back line. RQT, the last man standing for Australia. But no, he just got back towards a point. They're falling as quickly as they come back in. You can see that. A bit of a statement being made there by Australia. The main comes out the stall. It's not quite enough. And yet, Australia are ahead by 1 minute. They have an extra minute in reserve as we go back and play through the map again with those times remaining.
That extra minute can be absolutely crucial here in Overwatch. It means that they have more time on their attack to try and get more progress as both teams run through the map again. It is worth noting that because Sweden has less time remaining than the Australian team, that they will attack again, because the team with less time gets to attack.
Gets to or has to, I guess. Sometimes when you're behind in time, you don't always want to have to be attacking first here, but this gives Australia a good idea of what they need to do when it comes down to their attack. So they'll defend first. If they can hold Sweden off the first point, that will be huge. That means that all the Australians have to do is capture the first point. However, if Sweden make good progress through the map, Australia will then realise they'll have a lot on their plate to try and replicate and essentially exceed what Sweden have done on their attacking side.
Now, let's think back to the first Australian defense. If they were able to put on a defense on first as good as what they did the first time around, that would put them in a very good victory position. So if they can just put that into a bottle here, Mitch, and come out with it here again, that could be the key to victory for this Australian
It's
team.
all a matter of distilling that real elbow grease that Australia managed to apply. In fact, I believe their hold was about 2.5 minutes, which is pretty good the first time around. It's got to be better here. They want to stop the Swedes in their tracks and not give them a chance to maybe get a sniff of the cheese at the finish line.
Here comes Sweden right now on the attack. We'll see if they take the same approach to the left. They're thinking about it, and yes, they do. They're going to go off to the left. Swoosh on the 76. We'll be looking for the long-range poke here to put Sweden on the right approach. Australia, they hold back. They know they have room to give.
Again, the big pink mech suit in front for Sweden. Martin can prevent a lot of damage from actually connecting with his team at all, so he's got a very important role. Chips high nose being chucked down very low. He's down. Australia get the first pick here. That's the start they're looking for. Trading out kills in a positive manner should mean that they can weather this first push from Sweden.
And bear in mind, he isn't even dead. He's simply debacked. He's still in this fight. He will eventually fall, but the EMP comes out from Australia, and that gives them the edge here in this fight. They will push Sweden off of their lawn.
It may not have been the correct decision for government to use an EMP in this particular fight, but look at this. They're keeping Manitin alive. They're not letting him get killed because it's still 10 seconds time. It's going to take for him to come back. Sweden actually have to wait for Manitin to find some way to escape the Australians before he can even respawn. That's very big. Last push here for Sweden.
24 seconds remaining. It's not a lot of time. This pressure Sweden. They can't really look for a perfect engagement. They're going to have to throw their bodies on the point and hope for the best. This gives Australia a big edge as we go in to what should be potentially the final fight here.
Last chance saloon it is, Andrew. You're exactly right. And Sweden, again, being fairly tentative about it, trying to set up and find a good way to get towards this point. Damage is going back and forth. The reinforce is already very low. Swoosh is forced to deal with someone behind him there, a flanking player, but he gets Kiki desuited to start the fight. That's good, but now reinforce dropping down. The 1-for-1 Australia. They come alive in these last few moments. Atar hit the tactical visor onto 2 plays, and Sweden are nowhere to be seen. Australia hold them at the door.
Sweden unable to get another point. They are held, and they mere 2 points here in Volskaya. Australia, 2 minutes and 30 seconds to only get a tiny bit of progress onto that first point. And that would be enough to give them a map victory here and set them on the path to a comeback in the set against Team Sweden.
You're exactly right. And Australia, in fact, in this position, don't even have to capture the entirety of the first point. It's actually only 1 tick out of 3. You'll notice that the circle in the middle of the screen is segmented into 3 parts. So Australia actually only need that first third, which means that one fight or one little bit of time spent on that point, you can see where the little yellow arrow is there. Australia only need to get to that. That's good. But if Sweden come alive, maybe change their strategy, Australia will still need to be on their best behaviour and be on guard for anything weird to come in from the Scandinavians.
And what this does, this pushes Sweden into high-risk, high-reward mode, where their defense will be perhaps more aggressive than normal. They can't let Australia even come in on their own terms, because the odds of holding them off for 1 tick would be unlikely at best. Sweden, they're going to have to be a little bit crazy here on their defense if they want to hold this to a tie.
And they'll set up here again, high ground. You can see the shots coming across the screen. That's Swoosh just doing a bit of practice before the enemies start to spill forward from their attacking spawn. He's up there with Zebersai there. And the idea for Zebersai is to protect Swoosh from that Soldier 76. See him right at the top of the screen. And Australia really want to find those key targets and rip the damage doing potential away from Sweden before the fight starts. for Andrew.
They're loving it. This has been a great crowd all weekend long, but what a treat here from the Australian team to come back here in Volskaya, pierce through the Sweden team, and Atar, he was the hero here.
No doubt about it. You can see this last clip, the tactical visor was very important. You notice he actually doesn't have to aim at those targets, right? He actually locks onto them. So in that effect, it seems like a very powerful ability. There are a lot of ways for Sweden to have mitigated that damage, but they were too busy dealing with the rest of the Australians, very much up in their faces, taking their attention away. So Atar was free to do that. 3 damage from the backside, and you can see that's how the fight essentially went down. That was obviously the first playthrough of the map of Australia on the attacking side.
Have an answer for this kind of aggressive play because they're all strung out in the line at that point, and you have to have very good communication for going through every single choke point on the map not to be abused by Korea.
I mean, it's tough to say what might be good. You know, maybe you can possibly bait Miro in and then focus him down, have everybody be ready to check. But
Yeah, you have. That's exactly it.
I think that's what you have to do. But so far, you know, Russia hasn't been able to quite make that happen yet. Now we do have the ShaDowBurn finally switching over to the Reaper. A little bit better hero on this map anyway as we move into control center here on Lijiang Tower. And already Miro's just trying to jump in the back lines. There is no stopping this terrifying scientist.
Yeah, he just gets back into the lines every single time, and he coordinates so well with Zumba's barriers that he'll just jump in and out of the fight when he has his barrier up, when he has the enemy barrier up. Does get taken down by AMAC, and Russia for 2. Got to be pushing forward. It ends up being 3 for 3 in the end, but Arhan's still on the back line. They not get some damage down with the portal cannon, and they're going to walk up, but Korea's still playing back on the point. They are going to get the first cap.
Yeah, Korea will go ahead and take control of the control center, appropriately named, in Lijiang Tower. Now Russia coming back in again. Reds is there. Arhan has the Dragon Blade, and he's going after Godspeed. Pulls it out. That leaves you in a bit of trouble. Tries to boot back Genji, but he's only going to survive for so long. Wow, he actually does make it through there. That was a very nice handling of Arhan, actually. Meanwhile, the Blizzard goes down on the side, and Russia's able to force South Korea off to the point. They haven't taken it just yet, but it's getting close. But here comes Miro with that nano boost on the Winston. Got to worry about Eska on the side, too. Nice shot by Rubicon. Takes him down. Meanwhile, Reds forces back Miro, and it looks like Russia will hold for the moment.
Yeah, they will, and crucially, Doa, Russia didn't have to invest that much when it comes to ultimates. They're gonna have the Beyblade ready, the combination, as we like to call it, between the Reaper rather and Ana ultimates. It's gonna fall early. Tyrong actually manages to pick up the kill.
Yeah, ShaDowBurn not able to really get any damage done on that Reaper. Zumba comes in on the Zarya as well. Wait for it. Unfixed still alive on the May, but not any longer. As South Korea will take the point back yet again. That didn't last long. Only 26% gained by Russia there.
It's okay, Dylan. They've got the ultimates to retake it. No defensive ultimates, although Tyrong is getting close. Russia has to move quickly if they can get the Zarya combo down with the Beyblade. They can take this back.
That's right. They can send Reaper spinning in there with the ultimate. There's a nano boost. He's looking for it now, but South Korea splitting up beautifully. They're going to drop the sound barrier as well. And look at that, ShaDowBurn not really getting anything done with that. Meanwhile, South Korea comes in and Arhan cuts Russia to shreds.
So they read that so well. They did. That those 2 ultimates were up, and they took a position on the high ground with Tyrong there just to move the Reaper back. They tried to get up higher and closer to get the Beyblade and the death loss of damage on. So it was just instantly neutralized.
Godspeed.
Yeah, Godspeed.
And Miro just single-handedly holding the choke as South Korea kind of mills around by the doorway. Meanwhile, Graviton surge use. South Korea, they're already near 80%, and they're not letting Russia get close to the point.
I mean, they're just knocking it back, spawn camping him down. And that's about going to do it probably for us, Doa.
I think so.
Russia has to make use of this blizzard, but they're going to have to throw it down right at the entrance here. Not in at the point like they would like.
Now 90% now as Arhan gets the nano boost. Going to go in yet again, trying to handle Russia. Kills already. ShaDowBurn does take down Eska. They drop the blizzard as well, and Arhan flows it up as he pulls out the Dragon Blade. He went down before he got it, but it doesn't matter. South Korea takes the control center. They are 1 round away from winning the Overwatch World Cup.
That's all they had to do. A few percent left. Just stall them out for long enough. Force them to fight in the blizzard at the choke point. The unfixed can't get back into the control center fast enough to delay it, put it into overtime, and now, as you say, we are 1 point away from a South Korean sweep here. Not only when it comes to matches, but in from Miro's Winston play. He knows exactly where he can maximize the Tesla cannon damage at a choke point.
Yeah.
And he knows all these weird high ground ledges that he can jump to and then just rain chaos down from above. So we see him there, very calculated vertical jump, gets the jetpack on top of the side, hits 3-4 people with the Tesla cannon and just burns them down slowly.
You know, and that's the thing about the points on Lijiang Tower too, is once you get forced back, it's tough to escape spawns sometimes. Russia taking the smart path, I think, around through the side. Eska has that Deadeye ready to go though, so it's going to be hard to cross that area from where they are now to the point.
Now they're doing a good job of just controlling the space. They are all spread out right now.
Yep. Hard for any combos to come out. Eska backs away, he gets a little bit low. Meanwhile, there's a nano boost onto Arhan. Gonna look for the kiss. The flashbang missed. Yeah, he threw it a bit too early. Arhan gets 3, looking for another one. Gets 4, gets 5. Zumba looking for one himself. Eska picks it up to finish the team fight. And South Korea already near 50% here on what could be the last point of the Overwatch World Cup.
Absolutely, a team-wide full right there. We're gonna take a look at this flashbang miss.
A little early.
Yeah, threw a little bit too soon and a little bit too close to his feet, and then just cleaning everybody up there after. And now we're gonna see another push right away.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Russia has to get something started right now. Miro coming in, they'll get to use the primal rage. He's got Russia right where he wants them, and nobody really can get close to the point, it looks like. Miro still tries to get out. Soundbira used by Russia as they try to stay alive. South Korea responds in kind, unfixed. Over on the McCree now gets taken out by Arhan yet again. Meanwhile, Arhan gets that nano boost, doesn't need to use the ultimate, getting the kill. Super picking some up as well. You are not prepared. The spray says it all, and South Korea at 90%.
And Arhan never misses an opportunity to show us that you are not prepared, Stray.
Oh, yeah.
And this is it. There's a Torbjorn at the point right now. Unfixed has officially given up.
All right, I guess that's it, man. It's a victory lap for South Korea. Arhan pulls out the Dragon Blade. There goes Russia. Overtime activated, the closest they've gotten all series. But this is it. South Korea will win the Overwatch World Cup without dropping a single map.
Wow, Della. Wow. That is truly an amazing feat. Coming in, Korea. We saw them at APAC. We saw Lunatic High falling to Rome, falling to the West. We wondered how fast the Koreans would arrive in Overwatch. And they are here.
Man, they certainly are. What a performance by these guys. And again, you gotta credit the Korean fan base for voting these guys in. Then for Miro, who I believe was the captain, for picking up a player like Tyrone, this great coach from South Korea, and a decent Lucio player. You know, we're all a little bit of a decent Lucio player, so he's able to get in there, get the sound barriers at the right time. And how about Russia? Man, the dark horse of this tournament. Nobody expected them to get this far, but they had ShaDowBurn, they had Unfixed, they had this entire team that played so well together, and they really put on a great show.